thrown together and just came together as a 5-man team right when the North American LCS started. So they have not played together as a 5-man group for very long at all. And when you face Cloud9, Cloud9 really puts you in some tough positions and make you choose between objectives, mid-game and late game, that are really tough for teams to deal with, especially if they haven't been in those situations before. So it's going to be really interesting how Team Impulse go up against Cloud9, because they do really live up to their name, and they have a much more impulsive style and much more solo carry-oriented style.
You could say that. We heard the analyst devs talking a little bit about Rush. He brings that to the team, which he's curbed a little bit. Very nicely so for the team, and they've been able to get a lot of success from him out of the jungle in the early part of the game. Something we've heard as we see the picks and bans going through. No, the Ken gets banned out from Impact. I'm not smiling. Those guys are laughing, though. Is that Cloud9 is not going to let other teams get high-priority picks, which has actually come back to bite them when they still let teams get high-priority picks, like Ahri and Lissandra. This time, the Ahri still stands, but the Lissandra is out, and we'll see if this picks and bans goes a little bit better for Cloud9.
Yeah, the Rumble is still up. That's definitely a big Impact champion as well. Well, there we go. Maokai is still available. Yeah, Rumble is definitely contested between both these two top laners. Really big favorites for both of them. But yeah, the Maokai and Gnar still available for the top lane. Whereas mid lane, you keep mentioning this Ahri. Definitely a strong champion in the current game. We'll see if they feel confident still first picking her.
Only XiaoWeiXiao has played it once. Hai has not taken Ahri in the mid lane. So switching around, the Maokai does get picked up. We threw that out there to be one of the top picks. We've seen Aurelia and Renekton from these guys up there as well, so Impact may have that as they hover their first two. Yeah,
well, Rush always hovers over Lee Sin and Kha'Zix because of his interview. That was hilarious. But
one day
for Cloud9, I'm always thinking about what is Hai's champion going to be, because they're the ones who actually been outcasted, and that's what he's been going back to recently, and he has had some trouble in the mid lane, as well as a bit smaller of a champion pool and not feeling completely comfortable in everything, because there's a lot of pressure on him. People always look to the mid lane because Hai does accrue quite a few deaths.
That's true.
And he spends more time roaming around and
especially
fighting
with
for vision.
That title of shot caller. A lot is expected from that.
Yeah, so getting him on something comfortable is always optimal. And for Team Impulse, they do have the counter pick available. So going to go with the duo lane first here and grab Apollo. A standard right now. Graves is pretty much the all-around solid AD carry for pretty much any situation in the bottom lane.
Keep it extra safe with a Thresh. Adrian tending to go with Thresh more than other supports. He played that both games in week 1. So now what does Cloud9 decide to start to round out the composition with? Probably an AD carry here. The jungler has not been picked, even for the first round here at Team Impulse.
Impulse not giving away too much.
Right.
Now, Cloud9 could steal away Rush's Lee Sin, which is one of his favorite champions, and Meteos has also had success on it, which would also allow Meteos to make those early visits mid and control vision around mid lane, which has been so important. But
whoa,
as we say,
hot dog.
Nidalee is still up.
Nidalee and Veigar are locked in for Cloud9.
And this is the Veigar after DFG has been removed.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that full burst. The zoning that you can pull off with the Veigar is tremendous, because someone who's put in enough games to get down the exact range of the stun can really turn the tides of a team fight. Lock up not only the carries from a very long distance, but a very large area as well.
Yeah.
So Hai with some new picks. Oh, wow. It's going to be support Veigar.
Oh, yeah.
So
I was thinking.
One more trick. The pick's coming in really quick here from Cloud9. Now, support Veigar, especially when you have a jungler like Nidalee who is ranged. I really like what Cloud9 can do here. They can actually call Meteos from the jungle really early on and get turrets knocking down very quickly. They have Trinity Force Spike on Corki, and the Veigar support, who provides a lot of zoning around those turrets. So Meteos on this Nidalee has pretty much free reign. Nidalee can invade jungles really early. She can go to lanes really early and even pressure turrets. I expect Cloud9 to have a very, very strong early game this time around.
It's an advantage for them to want a 2v1.
Not necessarily. I mean, you don't have to 2v1. They definitely can, and that's something that Cloud9 really do like whenever they pick up that Corki.
Right.
So I believe you're on to something here, and Cloud9 definitely enjoy 2 versus 1.
It's only happened every game.
But it's definitely not necessary with a Corki Veigar.
I'm just seeing this Veigar being able to roam with the Nidalee if necessary, even more dangerous. We've seen the Morgana and Dark Bindings, but with an Event Horizon, that range, the ability to lock down potentially the entire team without having it be an ultimate pre-6 is very big. We'll see how Cloud9 uses it. They come into Week 5. Very interesting composition.
Yeah, the thing is, Veigar, even if they did do 2 versus 2, he can hide behind minions to avoid Thresh hooks, whereas Thresh cannot hide behind anything to avoid the Veigar stun.
You just disengage whatever you don't want. Throw down Event Horizon. Nobody's going to cross it. The Cloud9 fans are ready. It seems like we had a bit of a C9 mixed section there, but everybody's cheering, and we do see the compositions have been locked in. Impulse on your screen, ready and raring to go. Believe it or not, both these teams 4-4 right now as they look to get a victory in the win column, push each other down the standings. The coaches are ready. They pretty much have to leave it up to the players now, and whether or not that was really up to Charlie or the team, Cloud9 has an interesting one out of picks and bans. The teams are loading in, so head to Twitter and send hashtag C9win or hashtag TIP win to us at LOL Esports. We'll be tallying your votes throughout the game. So with this Veigar pick, is there that kind of potential ability to fall very far behind if something in this composition doesn't work? Or are they kind of all right?
I don't think it's anything more than any other support.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is here, Cloud9, they may look for a lane swap just because they're so good at pulling off the lane swaps, and they almost always come out with advantages in those 2 versus 1 scenarios. However, it does mean that the mid lane will be left solo. High versus XiaoWeiXiao.
And Impulse are still working on the team's language barrier. Their goal is not to get used to all players using one language, but something else entirely.
We just have to learn terms that we're all accustomed to, right? We still have communication problems. It's going to be a big part of our problem and like learning process, but that's not the most important thing that we're working on. It's a matter of us learning how to play the game so that we don't need communication, if that makes sense.
Well, we'll see if that works. It seems to be a bit of what the norm is, but you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's one of the things we brought up in Champ Select. This team coming together. Not only did they not have much time to play with each other, but bringing all those different languages is harder to work through. And actually, I think that team fight mechanics are actually more important than ever. As Freak brought up on the analyst he thought they were less important, but as the games, we've seen in the last couple of games, a lot of misplays in team fights costing an entire game. And that's something that really does come with playing together for a long time. So we'll see how Impulse can do with their short practice periods. Right now, though, Cloud9 looking to take advantage of Team Impulse's lack of time together. Even Rush admitted in their interview he did not know what to do in a lane swap at all until he got over here. And their coach had him watching videos to try and learn and copy what people are doing.
Right.
So I think that is a good call for Cloud9 to try and lane swap versus Impulse just in general.
That'll be the day, right? When solo queue lane swaps and all junglers are well versed in the happenings. Right now it's going to be that pretty much vertical jungle here. It's going to be the top side to TIP and the bottom side to C9. But they're going to get a push on this turret real quick once they get the minion wave there. C9 trying to do the same, but they're going to go ahead and grab the Scuttle Crab first. We'll see how TIP works this and how they start to spread the lanes. Usually when you get that turret down, you want to match up the lanes.
All right, so the double jungle here from both teams.
Yep.
Both mid laners are actually going to have to be fairly careful as well. Hai is pushing up right now, but you can see he hugs the bottom side of the map because that's where his duo lane is. That's where his junglers are. Very much accustomed to the lane swap issues. Thresh and Lee Sin starting to roam now. Around that 3.5 minute mark, both mid laners expecting some extra presence.
We actually just had the ping out towards Dragon, which was a scuttle crab ping for XiaoWeiXiao saying, watch out, they may be coming up the river. So he also hovering top side due to his duo being there in the jungle. And it looks like everybody gets that first pass quite safely. LemonNation is seen as he heads towards the top side. So it looks like we'll get a little bit of a roam on Veigar here. Sneaky has stayed in the bottom.
Support Veigar roaming up. As Cloud9, when they do lane swaps, they pretty much always leave Sneaky as the solo.
Yeah, we expected this
to get that golden experience very early on. They want to get Corki to that level 6 so he gets his rockets as quickly as possible. Corki's all about the mid game. And they'll just have Balls and Lemon lane together there. No strangers to laning together. We'll see how much Lemon actually takes as well up in that top lane, because if Veigar plus Maokai versus only AD carry, it is a lot of CC that they can stack on him as well. Here's another mid lane roam from Team Impulse.
Just missed out. XiaoWeiXiao kind of trying to predict the chain there, and Hai went the other way. I'm going to see if they go for one more, but it's just going to be a pass through.
And Hai on Zed, as we talked about, really important getting him on a comfortable champion. This is one of his most comfortable. 11-2 on Zed all time in the North American LCS regular season games.
We talked about which champions could he kind of revert to, and a lot of people forget about this pick.
Yeah, and he has a pretty good matchup here as well against LeBlanc. So he should be able to get to his Bork and Brutalizer fairly easily. Meteos now taking the opportunity to start getting that vision down around mid lane so that Hai will have the confidence to go aggressive when necessary.
So funny watching Lemon head up. Not too much harass to be had from him just yet. And Impact is able to stay safe there. No real discrepancies as you go down the CS. Meteos has been hitting the jungle quite hard, however, now by himself. We see Rush is down a few there, trying to make plays in the mid lane. Take it. No, he didn't.
Rush is spending a lot of time in that mid lane, just sitting here leeching experience away from XiaoWeiXiao, which could be fairly detrimental to Impulse's mid game. It looks like he just was there to help him shove, though. Wanted to get that wave pushed in so he could go purchase. Looks like XiaoWeiXiao on that level 6, gonna grab up his Codex as quickly as possible and come back with extra vision. The lane swap going pretty well for Balls, by the way, as far as CS goes. We'll see how much Mundo can scrap together of this big wave that's at his turret. LemonNation using the sun to try and deny cannon minion there.
Nicely done. Just harassing easily. Event Horizon cooldown is quite long, but he seems to be just throwing it out whenever he wants, as long as they have the vision to know they don't need it for a disengage. Meteos low in the jungle, so we won't see any help from him down here. They are quite pushed up. Rightfully so. They see Rush right in front of them, so they're not going to get any crazy ganks. Vision of XiaoWeiXiao in the mid lane. So Cloud9 is nicely pressuring advantages around the map. We see Hai now returning with the Cutlass to the mid lane. See if he puts some damage onto XiaoWeiXiao. We do know he's kind of in that phase of wanting to play safer / not die as much. We'll see if he can do that on Zed, who does initially need to go in pretty hard in these fights.
Now he does have the extra sustain as well. Really, though, I want to keep track of Meteos here. He's farming really hard on this Nidalee.
He's going, yeah.
And he is definitely
just back and forth in the jungle. He hasn't really made his way to lane.
Pressuring Rush here. So we'll see when he does start to get deeper vision. Right now, though, he's just cleaning his jungle as efficiently as possible and hasn't tried to affect side lanes. Corki now hitting that level 6. He wants to go buy because they've lane swapped back, and very difficult to lane swap down a BF sword. So Sneaky will go back and try to get his Sheen at least.
Waiting on a potion or so. Yep. And then he's going to head back to lane. 63 to 65 here, matched up. Tai doing a great job matching XiaoWeiXiao and CS, for XiaoWeiXiao being the #3 mid laner at CS and 10, and Hai being the last. He's been doing a good job at actually getting himself in the right spot in the early part of the game. One thing that can definitely help the team if we're struggling.
Yeah, whichever one of those mid laners does gain control and can start roaming first,
Yeah.
Can have a pretty big impact as far as mid game goes.
Oh, no double distortion there, so it's just to clear the wave. Looks like he's going to have the blue buff ping over from Rush. So delivered over to XiaoWeiXiao there. Pretty much textbook for the early part of the game. A lot of the gold coming from that jungle lead that we have onto Meteos. It's about 800 there. And then a few bits scattered around the rest of the map.
Yeah, definitely going really well for Cloud9. And I think that they do have better late game options as well.
Meteos actually decided to go in the jungle. Faked us out as well. Maybe something on the mid lane here. If they can tag LeBlanc, this could be big. Oh, very close. That would have been like an all-in, and it would have been very nice. XiaoWeiXiao getting himself out cleanly.
Let's see if Impulse can actually make any moves before Cloud9 decide to group up and start making use of their poke. Corki and Nidalee both trying to poke under turrets while they have a Zed split push. Be very, very difficult for Impulse to counter here.
Yep.
Because they do have that long Veigar stun to rely on. Hook does
Oh,
land.
the max range from Adrian, but there's the event horizon. They did lose the damage trade, but there's just no follow-up through that giant wall of stun.
Yep. Just at level 1, the Veigar stun is 1.5 seconds.
Leave it up. He's stunned the whole team. Fantastic.
Burst's going to be down, though, for Graves. Apollo quick ultimate. Cloud9 can play a bit easier.
Still have Ignite on to LemonNation. They don't have huge burst potential to win a fight on this one. I feel like they've gained enough ground at least to do Dragon. They really don't have too much forward vision. They have obviously the idea that they're clear right now, and looks like that's going to be enough. Good move by Impulse here, moving faster than Cloud9, and that's going to gain them first Dragon.
Yeah, Cloud9 not paying any attention to the early Dragons here. They've concentrated all their ward coverage up here on the top side. Try and keep track of Rush. And Meteos constantly coming in, stealing a camp or two. And they find him. All that preparation.
Where did he disappear?
So
just kind of like wisped off.
Meteos, not only does he lay the deep wards as on this top side jungle, but he also comes in every time with the Raptor buff already on.
Yeah.
So he knows that he was not seen getting in there. And just waits for Rush to walk into his hands.
Yep. That ward he laid earlier when he missed a shot on XiaoWeiXiao pays off for a kill. He gets a little return on investment there, and even more so clearing out more wards. Cloud9 is starting to take control of this early game. See if Impact can react on it. A little bit of pressure towards mid. Looks like they'll be able to drop this one down. Good movement by Meteos. He's been everywhere and still has great farm this game. Can't do much with it, Kobe.
Yep, that's what we talked about. Making that turret defense really, really difficult there with the Veigar. And Meteos on that poke jungler brings a lot of pressure. So with first blood going to him, we may see them group up even earlier, try and take advantage of it.
Few pings down towards the bottom lane. AD carries are pretty even, so it's going to be up to who else can participate in this fight to really make it go down. You're going to get a little bit more damage out of Adrian than you do LemonNation, so they do have to be careful.
XiaoWeiXiao does get to make a roam here, though, so let's see if he can answer on LeBlanc. Does have his Morellos completed.
Oh.
Just given away there by the positioning. Anytime Adrian moves up,
good call.
Cloud9 respecting it, backing off.
A little too close.
Now, think about it, too. Well, they're making a good mid-push here. They're punishing XiaoWeiXiao for his roam. So first we'll touch on the turret that finally does go down. But think about it, too. How are TIP going to deal with the shove from Cloud9? When they group up and they have this poke advantage, it's fairly hard for Mundo to really break that because he has to come in you know, with a teleport or try and flank somehow.
Yeah.
To come from a different angle from the rest of the team. Because Mundo, if he comes from...
Oh my gosh. Had to stop you for a sec, Kobe. That was amazing. I don't think they're going to do much with it. But back to Mundo.
Another really long-range hook landing on Sneaky here. Not getting off much of these dodges. But yeah, if Mundo comes from the same direction as the rest of the team, as he dives balls...
What? You might have been a mistake there. Thought Rush would be a little quicker getting to the party. And Impact throws himself in the grave.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay there by Impact. Not respecting the Maokai burst. It is fairly deceptive how much burst Maokai does pack early game, but Rush definitely, or Impact, overcommitting there. Rare solo mistake. And once again, we see top lane, pretty big advantage here. Balls just solo outplaying Impact when they matched back up after the lane swap returned.
Ping coming in from XiaoWeiXiao, letting them know high back in the mid. Meteos freely with his map pressure, able to clear out wards deep on the side of Impact, Impulse, and Impact. He was over there. But we do see Cloud9 hasn't yet put those wards all the way past towards that red buff and behind. So still unsure about the distance they can go, but happy with their lead right now. Sending Sneaky back down to the bottom lane. Triforce completed for him. XiaoWeiXiao to pick up blue, and we have 2 minutes on Dragon.
And Meteos has double buffs. He is a one-fed Nidalee.
Yeah, he doesn't have to give it to high.
Over and over. Yes, just clears so quickly, and with the first blood on top of it, he is very, very dangerous.
And it's almost impossible to ward against that. The path they just took, 2 completely different ones, and they are just closing off every escape here for Impact.
Yeah, and remember the focus that Meteos put on this top red side jungle. Cloud9 completely ignore early Dragon in order to gain control of this side, and they never let control of that top side go back into TIP's hands. Right now, Adrian making a roaming enter here and trying to gain some control back so that Meteos will not threaten Impact. Constantly taking those crabs as well. Really easy for Nidalee since
good money.
Her mark does snare them now.
Wow. That's really the first time we've seen just the initial burst on one catch. That is a lot, and Apollo cannot afford to have that happen again. The big one connecting for Sneaky, and this looks like it will be their turret.
Yeah, we are getting to that really strong mid game now. Even the roam comes down for high, just in case Impulse stick around, ready for the dive.
I mean, why not? They pushed down that mid turret early so he could get a bit more roam on. He'll be there to stop this wave.
Oh, he used his W.
The distortion won't be used once again. His Mimic's already down. That's going to be the Ignite. The Death Mark does not hit hard enough. And High takes the Alt Shadow back to safety.
Yeah, so they actually lose out on summoners. Even though High had the advantage there, he burned both summoners. And XiaoWeiXiao was saved by the roam. But now it should be time, Cloud9. Both outer turrets, mid and bottom down. They could easily swing the poke squad up top and continue knocking those down because they've gained such control of this game. At this point, all they have to do is ward up around this blue side. No, they don't even have to. They're just going to take the dragon immediately.
Well, they'll be more than happy to take top turret. They just have this first. Then they're going to go ahead and grab it. Impact and the rest of the team forced to stay in lanes, and the next dragon goes over to Cloud9. Level 11 balls here. He does have that second level of ultimate. I don't think it's really going to kill Impact in this 1v1, but they're going at it. There's already, no, I think he smited that, so he doesn't get the Raptor. He was just going for the CS. XiaoWeiXiao steals that away, and he starts his regular CS lead here as he starts to pull away, 171 to 163.
Trying to answer here.
Should be able to get this.
Before they get into place. Well, the missile misses.
Yeah, that would have been a good spread on the minions. Would have been able to clear it. Nonetheless, it is Impulse coming up with the turret. 4 strong in the mid lane. Teleports up on both sides. I think we're going to get a fight here, though. High split pushing in the bottom lane means Cloud9's pretty much just going to kite the fight and let the pressure go.
They might just continue on with a 1-3-1 split push here, seeing as how Ball's got that solo kill onto Impact. Now, though, Impact with his Spirit Visage should definitely not be dropping again.
So So looking at 26 minutes for Walls to have his Rod of Ages stacked up. That's been completed just a few ago. And it looks like we're going to get a Rod of Ages as well onto Meteos, just not finished up quite yet. 3K gold lead for Cloud9. They're playing this one quite safe. High still split pushing in that bottom lane. You can see Impulse has a bit of money to spend here. They're just kind of hanging out safe in the lanes. Yeah,
Cloud9 want to keep up the pressure. While they don't have, disengage really with LemonNation, it's sort of counter-engage. If Impulse,
a good way to put it,
overextend and they get stunned up, and it makes it really easy to land all these skill shots from the Cloud9 3-man group. High going to continue to try and split push down here. Does have that Blade plus Brutalizer combo that he's looking for.
Well, they have the wards to be where they are safely. Towards the bottom side, they can head over to High if they need to, or he can come up to the mid side, and they can add the pressure anywhere they want. And we have 1 minute until the Baron spawns. Cloud9's been making quick work of this game, but we always see the slowdown once you get to the second tier turrets.
Yeah, much harder to break through those ones. Also because they protect against poke with the extra shields.
Yeah.
So the rockets and spears, you either have to be able to get in and take down some damage on the turret, or just land your spears and rockets on the exact same target and work your way through that shield. So those are much more difficult. That's why I expected them to swing up top and the outer turrets.
Figured that would have happened once at least the camps were clear. Raptors and Krugs are up. You may see Meteos go and smite that quickly. Actually, that's down, so he won't be able to get the buff. But yeah, definitely a little lax on taking this top turret in favor of Cloud9. But they're happy split pushing. High is still getting big, staying up in CS against XiaoWeiXiao. Looks like he's going to have that Youmuu's coming up next, if he decides to. Maybe he would wait for Meteos to start charging up his Rod of Ages. It's not a spike, but I don't know. They're definitely playing it slow for the advantage they have.
Well, they've done a good job of warding up this blue side jungle, because that's the side that High is split pushing on, whereas Maokai is just hugging the turret over and over. In come the spears. He's got the blue buff now, so they continue the pressure here.
Oh.
Now, once the cooldown for the cage is up, Cloud9 have to be a lot more respectful, because Lee Sin with Flash can definitely make a play.
Yep. Just about 15 seconds on the baby cage. So if he misses that sucker, it's going to be bad news bears. High still alone in the bottom lane. We actually haven't seen the split push strategy from Cloud9 in quite some time. This definitely makes High, not on high alert, but just really where he has to stay safe. He can get completely closed in on by the rest of the team. And if he wants to be in that position where he himself said, I need to stay safe, it's going to be even harder. Seems to be working out for him, though. They look to drop this top turret. They're just waiting and leaving it up to Sneaky. He's going to go on a solo mission.
Yeah, it was a sneaky little allocation of champions here from Cloud9. Both top laners recalled, but Sneaky ran straight up the river to gain some footing up there in the top lane, and he's able to knock it down. Grabbing the last outer. Now, double Rod of Ages are stacking up for Cloud9. Balls is actually almost done with his. Over halfway, 6 minutes done. So the Maokai front line is edging towards where they want it to be. They really should probably make use of this Corki right now, though, because this is where Sneaky has a pretty big impact on the game. His rockets are hitting really hard because he has the spell penetration boots, and he has plenty of flat AD to back up his Trinity Force. He hits turrets really, really hard. If they're able to get any poke to land, then Sneaky can quickly take a large chunk out of a turret with just a Trinity Force empowered auto attack.
Yep. Cloud9 taking Dragon into consideration. That'll be up in 30 seconds. Potions and wards across their inventory to make sure this fight goes in their favor. It looks like they're not going to get too much trouble out of it.
And again, Impulse do not have a lot of hard engage. It has to come from a really good play from Rush, or an interesting teleport from Impact in some ward behind Cloud9. I mean, it's really hard because they haven't been able to get any wards on this bottom quadrant of the map where Cloud9 are focusing. Because Cloud9's vision game is so strong, they don't let Impulse get any wards down there by the dragon. They control this blue side jungle from about 10 to 12 minutes on in the game. They haven't let Impulse venture into that side of the map.
Ball's doing a great job at holding top. A lot of resources here for Impulse. Looks like Cloud9 may try to sweep through the jungle here, almost catching Rush. I thought they were either going to dictate mid.
Oh, they want to collapse on him.
Vision is only the only... Oh, a flash. He almost gets hit by the cage, but he is able to get out. And Rush, as we saw, was able to safeguard it.
They couldn't shove really quickly up mid here for Impulse because Cloud9 really committed hard to trying to cut off Impact. And it looks like they are going for it.
A little bit of ring around the rosy for Impulse. Gives them good positioning here in the mid lane. But that means they're also going to get sideswiped here out of the fog of war by that Event Horizon and Sneaky. Back to these guys in the top. The wet noodle fight as they back off from each other. We saw Balls walking over to the rest of the teammates. Power in numbers here for Cloud9, and they know it. Impulse is not taking these fights unless they're 100% sure they have more numbers.
Oh, High's going for the assassination
this
here.
Is gonna
Impact.
Be it. Boom. And the bop. He's not even going to have to let that go off.
You can turn off the vision from that ward just by sweeping it, and he went right past it. Trying to take advantage of the low HP Impact. Also knew that he did not have his ultimate, which wouldn't have even helped him anyway. But good play there by High, going deep into enemy territory and just bypassing the ward by sweeping it and running straight through that fog.
Cloud9 using advantages as they used to. We haven't really seen this kind of free play out of them too much within this split. It's been a lot of communication issues and kind of trying to come back in games. But here with the lead, we see High now pressuring some solo kills by himself, and the rest of the team playing very strong. The Veigar pick working out for the team. Hasn't done anything too special yet. Interesting nonetheless. Definitely opening up options if LemonNation needs to bring something out due to deep picks and bans. Cloud9 now moving up the mid lane, feeling sure about it. 3-0 on the scoreboard. It's been quite a slow game in kills as Cloud9 has found everything they wanted and safely moved away from either that objective or that turret. And now they're able to even grab on Impulse's jungle.
Yeah, Cloud9's control of the map has been spectacular, and they're constantly returning back to this blue side enemy jungle. There it is, you know, you lock down that stun and all your skill shots guaranteed to land.
Jeez.
There's the siege coming through. If you're too slow to get everybody in position. Even if you do have everybody in position, I feel like Lem can still stun half your team.
Yeah, you're done instantly when you get hit. There's the vision from the spears. They'll be good. Winions on the top side here are going to break the outer line. As Cloud9 says, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and take another turret consecutively here now to the bottom lane. There's the stun once again. XiaoWeiXiao could get hit up. Twisted advanced distortion to the back line. High can also make that move. He gets out with the alt shadow. May go down, but actually lives with a sliver of health and no more. And it looks like Cloud9 is forced to back off after going a little too deep on this one.
And Meteos threw a spear that took Rush down to double-digit health. Almost took him out as well.
Close stuff. Impulse kind of just scraping at these fights to keep them in their favor. Cloud9 knows they made a mistake there, so if it was the engage they wanted, that would have probably been an inhibitor turret down in favor of Cloud9. Good hold by Impulse. Let's see it again.
Yeah, okay, so they're chunking down again, and then once again, we see the zoning of the Veigar. He does land it this time, and they didn't really want to go for a dive, but just because XiaoWeiXiao is Half-Life right in front of Balls, he decides to take it. There's that spear I was talking about. Almost took his head off. But they didn't even need that. They only wanted the turret. They are slowly taking down all of the outer turrets, using the poke to their advantage, playing out this squad expertly. And it seems like Impulse just didn't bring enough tools to be able to upset the early game of Cloud9. Rush didn't get much done on this Lee Sin early.
Ooh. Still see the power there.
Because of the lane swap from Cloud9. And now they have to deal with the poke squad.
These guys are spot on. Credit to Cloud9 this game for hitting their skill shots. Obviously, when they're locked up, it's quite easy, but you can see even Rush trying to dodge back and forth is still getting tagged. Everything working in favor of Cloud9 right now. Looking at a 6,000 gold lead pretty much on the dot here, just 30 minutes in. And with obviously Dragon not giving you as much, we say this quite a bit, that gold lead is coming from their map control. At this point, it's quite a bit. Freely taking scuttles left and right. Meteos grabs another one in the game, 137 to 105, far and beyond Rush into that CS factor. A few of the other lanes, 274 to 248 in CS as well for Sneaky. We said they're going to have to be using that spike soon of him. See if they can get in the face of Impulse.
They're really going to have to work around the Veigar side. You have to flank. Like, that's why I was saying with Mundo, you can't even come from the same direction as your team because LemonNation can cut off an entire pathway. Adrian gets chucked down to half.
And that's the trouble we see Impulse having, not being able to get in, knowing the event horizon is just right there. Still a very high cooldown, but as long as LemonNation holds it, they can't do much.
And like the Nidalee was taken really early on in the draft as well.
Yep.
So they knew they were going to have to
Nidalee
face some
Veigar.
poke. And they're not able to get the engage they want. Adrian takes a bunch.
Falls over the wall, trying to get a good initiation down with High, but he can't get himself out this time. That's a bit of the DPS they've been using to win these fights out. Actually, High is out in time, faking everybody out with the shadows. A double kill coming in for Sneaky. Thought High got locked up and taken down, but he gets out valiantly. 3 down for Impulse here as Cloud9 makes their way to Baron.
Yeah, they already had it prepped. Double pink wards in the river, inside Baron pit. It's very dangerous, but Rush, there's not a lot of options for Impulse, so probably going to go for a hero move here and just try and steal it.
It would be the best option.
I mean, they already have a bunch of people down. If he does die, though, Cloud9 can easily snap.
They just seal the deal, putting the baby cage around him. They head in, throw him a Rattler, and he goes down. XiaoWeiXiao's in. Can he get it? Oh, he actually takes down the smite. They should have enough damage to finish this. That's going to be Corki grabbing it. Sneaky gets Baron for the team, but they are so low. Impact, this is his time to start pulling the kills back in. That's their cleaver. They give it to him. XiaoWeiXiao's got enough of what he needs, apparently. They want Impact to be tankier. And Cloud9 is running for the hills as Impulse is going to be running for their turret.
Yeah, Impulse probably should try and grab the dragon as quickly as possible, because if they don't get it now, Cloud9 are going to clean up. They ping out the turret, though. They'd rather have some global gold here. Finish off that secondary turret. With High being down for 20 more seconds as well, should probably be able to get this dragon. However, XiaoWeiXiao is low, and Cloud9 know it. So they might try and get over there. So, Balls dodges the hook with his twisted advance and gets right over to Apollo. High with the team fight Zed, getting to the back line, assassinating the AD carry and taking his ult Shadow back out. Just absolutely destroyed from that team fight. They have to have Mundo on the front line at the beginning.
Well, they did pick up the dragon. We saw XiaoWeiXiao heading towards the top lane to get a push on that. And we see Balls cleaning that up right now, doing a little janitorial duty. Whew. Pretty much a fair trade on that. Apollo or Sneaky and XiaoWeiXiao going head to head. Sneaky definitely better off as he's able to heal himself up now with the Cutlass. And Baron to be used by Cloud9 as they continue their pressure. Those first 2 kills were the first kills that Impulse was able to grab within that last fight. So they're looking for more now and more ways to get back into this game as they're pushed up against the ropes.
Yeah, I'm just, with the Baron buff added on to this offensive poke style that Cloud9 have with the Veigar, it just looks really, really dire here for Impulse. I know. Whenever the Veigar stun is down, they can back off. Just give some space here. However, whenever the Veigar stun is back up, you stun so many people, allowing those skill shots to land. A little bit slow there. Meteos doesn't follow up, but they did get the turret.
Oh, High going deep. He gets out safely on that. And it looks like Adrian's going to be locked up by the team. He will go down. Cloud9 gets what they want along with the inhibitor turret. And they are onto the inhibitor. XiaoWeiXiao's on the backside looking to explode LemonNation or Meteos, hopefully. But a lot of hope has to go into this one. He gets Lemon, and he does get it. But he goes down. There's a lot of cost for going for these fights. High risk, high reward. But really the reward here is they just save the rest of the game.
Not really much of a reward for Impulse. They get a support kill.
You gotta take some of the good with a lot of the bad, Kobe.
And now they're gonna have to defend a secondary turret with just AD carry wave clear. They will be hard-pressed
Yeah,
to do that.
this is a punishing play style here from Cloud9 that they've brought out today in Week 5, and it seems to be working for them. Impulse just could not find their footing. Right now, they're clearing up all the waves that are just being pushed into them due to Cloud9's control. We do see the Talisman of Ascension for LemonNation as well. Some options if they can catch somebody with Event Horizon, or even more disengage or counter engage, if we've been calling
it's such an offensive support, Veigar here.
Yeah.
And you can constantly see them using the stun really, really well.
See what kind of ground Impulse can set up. Wards obviously going to have to be something they get out. A lot of the wards are pressed up just to their baseline, and it's not something they're going to be using all the way out here. If they were to get caught, they wouldn't have any vision at this point. Cloud9 doing a nice job at moving forward some of the pinks, adding a little bit of damage on it as well. They're not too worried or in any rush to take this one to the front of the base. They're taking everything before they get there.
Pretty easy cleanup here for Cloud9. Complete vision of the entire map. All neutral objectives are there, as they can easily siege up again as well. All options available.
Every single one.
And this is, again, one of those games where people are like, oh yeah, it is Cloud9. They're fine. They're back.
Yeah.
But again, they've been very inconsistent this season.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully this is more telling of what they'll come up with, because they've always had big strengths in coming up with, especially bottom lane combinations, like the Ashe Zyra combo.
Right.
And working around that. This time around, pulling out the Veigar poke-assisted team comp here.
Definitely see why they went into this composition, banning things like the Kennen and things that would dive them as well. Rush gets hit up, not much damage on the front line that can access that right away. XiaoWeiXiao down for 20 seconds right now, and the fight is just past the inhibitor right now. Cloud9 looks actually pretty good as they're just standing inside the base. Impact taking all the damage that he can. He should be able to make it out safely, but Cloud9 is brute forcing their way through this entire fight. 35 minutes on the clock. They're onto the Nexus turrets now in a very methodically played game, poking Impulse out of every part of the map. They're forced to back up one more time. Rush does what he can to kick back Sneaky. I think it's going to be the end of Impulse on this one, though, as they try to go for broke here on this fight. Sneaky gets the exhaust, but he knows with the power of the team they can stay into this fight. And Kobe, I think it's going to be a done deal. Cloud9 are going to be taking out Impulse.
Yeah, definitely on form this game around. Meteos back to hard farming the jungle. High making strong solo plays.
Yeah.
The bottom lane coming up with strong roam.
36 minutes in, Cloud9 do take down Team Impulse.
Balls in the top lane getting a solo kill. It's pretty much everything that used to give Cloud9 wins back on form today in full effect for Team Impulse.
It looked really good the whole way around. The Veigar support was a bit of a mix-up here. And to Impulse's credit, playing against something like that becomes very difficult as well. Having that type of counter-engage coming in from Cloud9 definitely, or I would say definitely, but it for sure threw them for a loop in some sense, because they did not and could not engage in any of these fights. Great matchup for Cloud9. Definitely looking stronger. Whether or not they're back to their old selves, we still have more games to see.
Yeah, and for Impulse, throwing the lane swap, didn't really make any moves early on in the game at all. And just sort of Cloud9's much better constructed mid-game there with all of the poke coming in.
A lot of focus on what other teams were doing from Rush, and that was focusing high. But we saw him not really focusing high, but spending time in the mid lane, more soaking up experience, or being with Impact in the top lane. There was a big farm difference between Meteos and Rush this game. The Rush was just kind of trying to hang out in lane. I think that might have hurt them a little bit, because Meteos on the Nidalee was getting in, invading. They killed Rush and his Raptors, and they just had better vision control off the bat because of that play.
Yep, definitely good job, taking their lane swap advantage, moving that in towards the mid game. And we'll have to see. The only question is, can they keep it up, though? Because Cloud9, every time we think that they're back,
Right.
You know, they've had games where they make just a lot of mistakes in team fights, mistakes even picking the correct team fights, as Freak pointed out. So consistency is what we're looking for from Cloud9.
One thing that'll test that, Kobe, is they have CLG tomorrow, and that's something that's really,
definitely a big test.
really going to make the fans see, and obviously the Chronologic Gaming fans see, if it's still the golden age. But if Cloud9 is at where they need to be here, if they're a team that can be that team to go to Worlds for NA, along with Team Solomid, along with the teams who are at the top, and kind of hold the position they were, because fans are wondering, where's the Cloud9 from last splits, man? Where's our 25-3?
Well, they're right here. You just saw them today. Balls solo kill, great shot calling, and solo plays from high. They played their team perfectly. They have this
That's big.
poke jungler who just hard farms and then sieges up. They even picked up Veigar to set him up for perfect skill shots to land.
So strong stuff coming out of Cloud9. More matches to come today. Obviously, we have Impulse doing what they can to keep getting wins. They go to 4-5, and they have Gravity tomorrow. So with Gravity surging as well, or having those good plays that they did, and carrying that consistency tomorrow, it's going to be tough for them. Cloud9 moved to 5-4. Like I said, it was interesting that these teams are in the middle of the pack this year. Maybe not so much Impulse. People weren't thinking a lot from them. Maybe they'll be at the top, maybe they'll be at the bottom. But to see Cloud9 kind of not know where they are and have these troubles, it's different. It's definitely different for a lot of the people that are like, oh, this will be another fast.
Yeah, they were one of the few teams that didn't have to make a bunch of roster swaps.
That's true.
So that's why people expected, you know, Cloud9 to remain at a similar power level to last year. But definitely working through their own issues.
Yeah, the last time they swapped, what was it, when High got hurt, and it was only All-Stars for Link. So really, these guys haven't swapped throughout normal games. They've been a team the whole time, and we've seen those innovations like you're talking about, the Ashe Zyra from the bottom lane of Sneaky. And Cloud9 is one of those teams that's taken that and said, all right, Ashe Zyra doesn't work. We can mold to the new meta. But this time, I think this year, is that something that they're having trouble with.
And it's also the way that they play around that as a whole team. You can see right there, LemonNation and Sneaky getting ready for their interview. I'm sure he's got some questions centered around the Veigar pick, but we saw how effective it is if you do have that lead, and pressuring under those turrets where the team is bottled up makes it easy to land multi-man stuns.
Just trying to look at Impact's or Impulse. I'm going to do that a million times today. Impulse's roster. And
that was my
what they could
for the day.
What they could have done different. The Mundo pick, in general, do you feel like that rounds out the composition for what these guys could have had with kind of like, yeah, it is the tank.
So, yeah, I do like Mundo currently versus some pickups. More against like sort of double AP or more poke-oriented teams.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, he never really got to get off the ground this time, especially since he misjudged the 1-versus-1 with balls.
That was a tough one.
Really, I feel like Impulse were missing some hard CC.
All right. Well, we are going to toss